student, how you all? Hope you people are doing well. Today I am going to represent the poetry The Solitary Reaper, which is written by William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth was born on 7th April 1770 in the Lake District of London, England. He is regarded as the worshipper of nature. That means he loves the nature, he loves to write regarding nature. He is a ballad writer, and also whatever he writes in a form, in a lyrical form. He regards the nature encountered in the romantic ages. His famous writings are among the lyrical ballads. Here is also a poem which is namely The Solitary Reaper. Before starting the poem, I would like to inform you about something regarding the poem. That is, in this poetry, the poet talking about a lady who is lonely and harvesting. Reaper is a person who is harvesting. Solitary means lonely, alone, single. So, the title implies a lonely person reaping in the field or a person reaping alone in the field. Whatever you may say. Going to introduce the chapter. So, students, as introducing you the chapter, I think I should ask you people a few questions. ଯଦି ଆମେ ଜାଣିବା କହୁ ସବୁବେଳ ପାଇଁ ସୁନ୍ଦର ତୃପ୍ତିର ଅବସାଦ ନାହିଁ ଯେତେ ଦେଖୁଥିଲେ ନୂଆ ଦିଶୁଥାଏ. Obviously, how often you stop by the roadside without your knowledge by distracting from your own work, leading attracted by the scenic beauty of nature. How many times? Yes, obviously, many of you would love to see the beauty of nature by standing alone in the lawns or in the roadside. You may attracted by something which detracts you from your work. It may be a horse of goats or ships or the bright sky or maybe the view of horizon where the sea and the sky meets, whatever. The sound of the stream or river also attracts us the most. The sweet music of the running water or the birds chirping in evening way we are going outside, then also we come across a lots of things that should attract us. But as we people are really very busy in our work, sometimes we may not count upon them. Okay, in every way we love the music of nature as they soothes our soul, and whenever we listen to the music in the early morning that sounds melodious and we remember those notes throughout the day. I think this happens with everyone. If after getting up or after waking up in the morning, if you listen to a sweet music or sweet sound, then that sound remains in your mind throughout the day. Even if you don't want to remember those lines, or even if you don't want to learn or mumble those lines, still they are coming into your mind and you keeps on singing them. Okay, the poem The Solitary Reaper is also of the same style. Okay, now we are going to start the poem. I am reciting the poem in front of you. You people start reciting it with me too. Then we will learn the stanzas. Okay. Behold her single in the field, yon solitary highland lass, reaping and singing by herself, stop here or gently pass. Alone she cuts and binds the grain and sings a melancholy strain. Oh, listen, for the bell profound is overflowing with the sound. No nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary bands or travelers in some shady haunt among Arabian sands. A voice so thrilling ne'er was heard in springtime from the cuckoo bird, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest hybrids. Will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the plenty numbers flow for old, unhappy, far off things and battles long ago. or it is some more humble lay, familiar matter of today, some natural sorrow, loss or pain that has been and may be again. Whatever the theme, the maiden sang as if her song could have no ending. I saw her singing at her work and over the sickle bending. I listened motionless and still, and as mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore, long after it was heard no more. So, students, come to the first stanza. Try reciting this poem by yourself for several times. You could understand everything. Look, people, as the writer or the poet writes or composes the poem, he has her own thoughts in it. Okay, the poet always emphasizes or comprise lots of things into words in composing a single poem. Here also, it's a great poet's writing. That's why we are just trying to let you learn the main theme of the poem. Then starts with the first stanza. Behold her single in the field, yon solitary highland lass. The poet tells us about a young girl of Scotland. He tells us to look at the girl who is reaping grain and also singing sweetly. That means the in Scotland is divided into two parts, that is lowlands and highlands. Isn't just a geographical issues but cultural one too. So here a young girl, a Scottish young girl is reaping in the field and also she is singing. Reaping and singing by herself, stop here or gently pass. She is reaping the grain and also singing a sweet song all alone. The poet is so mesmerized and elated by the singing that he doesn't want to end. If he stops or passes by, she might see him and stop singing. He advises the passers-by to stop and listen to her song or pass very silently so that she is not disturbed. He is moved by her song and he feels that they might be moved by it too. That means the poet advises the people or the passers-by to just to pass silently without making any noise, without the notice of the girl, because she know, if she know that someone is listening to her or someone is noticing her or someone is watching at her, then she might stop the singing. So the writer said, please, either you stop or you gently pass without making any noise. You just simply pass, because if the person who is singing and ripping, if she got disturbed, then she might stop singing. So please just stop or gently pass. If you are willing to listen to her, then please stop, please pay attention to her. If you are not, then please gently pass. Okay, next. Alone she cuts and binds the grain. Alone she cuts and binds the grain and sings a melancholy strain. Who? The girl. Alone she is singing and binding the grain and sings a melancholy strain. The poet says that the Highland girl cuts and binds the grains in sheaves. She is also singing a sad song. She is very busy in the both of the work. Now in this, the poet giving us more details about what is going on. She is cutting some kind of grain and trying them all together to bind. She binds them into a beads. The song she is singing is not a very happy one. It is a melancholy strain, that is a sad song. Melancholy strain means having some sad tune in it. Okay. So here poet is giving really very close and details about the girl. He is saying that he is cutting the crops and tying them and bind them into by making a hearse and sings a melancholy strain. Yes, she is singing, but she is not singing happily. She is not singing in a good mood, but she is singing from heart, and the song resembles like something sad tunes. Okay, Olation for the well profound is overflowing with the sound. The poet once again advises the passers-by to listen to her song, the whole deep valley, which is magnificent and great, that is profound, profound mane great, is echoing with it. That means the sound or the song that the girl sings. With that sound, the entire valley is echoing with it. Is listening to her, the sweet voice, it is full to brim with the sound of the woman's song. The with the echoing sound, with the sound of the girl, the entire valley is echoing. Echoing means ପ୍ରତିଧ୍ୱନିତ ହେଉଛି ଗୀତଟି ଶୁଣିଲା ପରେ ଯଦି ଜାଣିଥିବ ବହୁତ ଓପନ୍ ସ୍ପେସ୍ ଅଛି ଦେନ୍ ତାହେଲେ ସେଠି କ'ଣ ହୁଏ ତମେ କିଛି ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ କହିବ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ୱିଲ୍ ରିସାଉଣ୍ଡ न्यूमेरियस टाइम्स दैट मीन्स से बारंबार 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 शुण जोटा को कि आम कौन कही इको बोली कहुई थाए है सो ये से कहते गोटे ओवरफ्लो हो साउंडटार ओवरफ्लो होची बोली से कही सो आम जदि फास्ट स्टैंजा को गोटे समराइज करवा वी विल फाइंड द पोएट इंट्रोड्यूसेस अस टू द सब्जेक्ट ऑफ द पोएम द सॉलिटरी रिपर who is cutting the grain and singing a melancholy strain. In this stanza, single, solitary, by herself and alone emphasizes the girl's solitude. The act of the reaping alone in the field binds the girl intimately to the field. That girls become too attached to the field and she is alone. As she sings, the melody fills the lonely valley. She becomes almost completely merged with the nature. She sings a morose, gloomy song while she cuts and binds the sheaves of grain. देखिथिव शिप्स माने कौन ये जो गाँ मानकरे जितेबाला चाषबास सरी जाए फसल कटा सारा पर से गुड़ा को बाइंड करके गोटे गोटे गोछा भाया करके जाती माने गोटे गोटे ग्रुप कर दियंती ओके It seems to the poet as if the surrounding valley is brimming over with the song of the reaper. Okay? से reaper से जो फसल कटाड़ी साउंड रे पूरा एंटायर वैली कौन होची इको होची बा कंप्लीटली कवर अप हो जाउची. नाउ नेक्स्ट टू द सेकंड स्टैंजा. No nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary ones of traveller in some shady haunt among Arabian sands. No nightingale. Nightingale कौन ना गोटे bird. Okay. The poet compares the sweet voice of the girl that of a nightingale. So far, nightingale has sung a song. So far, the nightingale has sung a song as melodious as the girl sings. Here, the poet giving a metaphor to us. Metaphor that is a comparison with the voice of the girl with the voice of the nightingale. So here, he says that the nightingale has sung a song as melodious as the girl sings. That means the girl is singing more sweetly than the nightingale. When a group of tired travelers reaches a shady place in the Arabian deserts, the nightingale welcomes the tired caravan with its sweet song. सेठी कौन हुए ना अरेबियन डेजर्ट्स रे अरेबियन सैंड माने अरेबियन डेजर्ट्स रे जेतेबेले गोटे ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल आसिकी बा ट्रैवलर्स आसिकी पहुंचंती जोटी शेड रे टिके रेस्ट नवा पई से जगह रे तांकू विमोहित करिथाए बा अट्रैक्ट करिथाए कहार साउंड कहार वेलकम नोट ना ए जो नाइटिंगेल रो वेलकम नोट. द वॉइस ऑफ द सिंगिंग गर्ल is sweeter than that of a nightingale. Wordsworth has consciously chosen the nightingale, the best singing bird, only to make us aware about the superiority of a song of the solitary reaper. Knowingly, the poet chose the nightingale to make the comparison between the two, the song the girl sings and the song of the nightingale, because he wanted to give a metaphor to us. He is showing that he is giving something better and much priority to the song of the girl. Okay, then come to the next one. The voice, so thrilling, near was heard in springtime from the cuckoo bird, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest hobbits. The comparison between the song of the girl and the song of the cuckoo is made over here. Look in before stanza, in before lines, the poet compares the song of the girl with the song of the nightingale, and here he is also comparing the song of the cuckoo bird with the song of the reaper. What is the cuckoo? You must have listened to the cuckoo sound in the spring times, or that is really very soothing, that is really very sweet. Such a sweet voice was never heard from the cuckoo even in the spring season. The bird song always sweet or always very sweet, but the voice of the girl was even sweeter in the poet's eyes. It was so sweet that it broke the silence of the seas and of the far off island on northwestern coast of Scotland. Farthest means the a particular place which is situated far away from the place where the writer or the speaker is speaking about. Okay, if I am speaking about this place, then farthest means a long away or a distant place from this place, understood? And Hobbits means the northwestern coast of the Scotland. Stanza 2 summarizes that describes the speaker's reaction to the maiden song. Maiden, who is maiden? The girl is maiden. Maiden means Kumari Hithei Pare. Okay, we don't have any witness, or we don't have any thing to claim that she is married or maiden. But here maiden means a little or a young girl. The words of the song are in a language unknown to the writer, because he is just listening to the voice, but he could not understand anything. But he can say that the voice or the singing of the girl is more sweeter than the nightingale and the cuckoo. So, as the language unknown to him, but he remains transfixed by the melody, which seems to stretch the limits of time and space. He associates the sweetness of the reaper song with the beautiful cries of the nightingale and the cuckoo, familiar images of transcendence in romantic poetry. बुझिपार कि? Then come to the next stanza. Will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the plaintive numbers flow for old unhappy fire of things and battles long ago. So he is telling, as the language of the song is unknown to the writer, as the speaker is telling that he doesn't understand what she sings. That means he is totally unaware of the language or of the tunes or of the lyrics that she was singing. But still, he is asking, I couldn't understand the alien language. So, is there anyone who will help me to find out the lyrics or to understand the song? So he said, the poet said that I am not going to understand the alien language of the song of the girl. He tries to interpret it and wonder whether anyone will tell him the meaning of it. The spectaculars or he predicts that the girl is probably singing some plaintive number. Plaintive means a mournful or sad song which is coming under which is not coming under any romantic poem or any regular poem, but that is also not sounding that much of happiness in it. So he says that maybe she is saying, or she is singing some plaintive numbers. Okay, plaintive means mournful or sad, of a distant past, or about some old unhappy far off things. So maybe she is singing something which happened with her in the old times, or in some unhappy incident happened with her in far off things. Maybe in the past something bad had happened with her, and maybe she is also singing the songs of battle. Okay, next come to the next lines. Or it is some more humble lay, familiar matter of today, some natural sorrow, loss or pain that has been, and maybe again. Here, the speaker continues to ponder over the Omen song. The language of the song seems incomprehensible. He wonders if her song is more humble, something more familiar or day to day. Humble means that is coming in the natural or in the day to day life. So he is saying, he is asking, who the poet is asking that is she is she singing something different, or is he just saying some familiar things of the day to day natural life. And he also he tries to guess the theme. Perhaps she is singing a simple song on some ordinary matters of the present age, or singing about a simple sorrow or loss, or of some misery or pain. That means if something had happened with her, like some destruction, like some disaster, natural disaster, or some the partners from our loved ones, or something like that, maybe for that thing she is singing. So he is really sure only about one thing, that the Omen song is a sad one. The poet is only sure about a thing, that the Omen song is a sad one. Probably the incident of the loss of pain has taken place in the past, and it may be experienced again in future. The poet is saying that maybe she is continuing under this pain, or under this loss. Maybe she is facing that problem in the past, and it will continue to in the future also. So, going to summarize the stanza 3. As he allows the song to engulf or shallow his consciousness. Engulf means shallow. That means the poet allows the song to engulf his consciousness, to engulf ତାଙ୍କର ସଚେତନତା ତାକୁ କ'ଣ କରିବା ପାଇଁ, ନିଜ ଭିତରକୁ ଆଚ୍ଛାଦିତ କରିବା ପାଇଁ, ଗିଳି ଦେବା ପାଇଁ, ଡାକି ଆଣିବା ପାଇଁ, ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ କଭର ଅପ୍ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଟ୍ରାଏ କରିଥିଲା. He envisioned fireplace and times of long ago. His imagination transports from him to field in which he stands to the edge of infinity. That means, look here, the poet was only talking about the present scenario, that the reaper is reaping and also singing beautifully. But later on, he continues to think about the future, the past, for the infinity. Okay, so let's come to the stanza 4. Whatever the theme the maiden sang, as if her song could have no ending, I saw her singing at her work and over the sickle bending. The poet is saying that whatever the theme the maiden sang, that means the girl, whatever she sang, the poet didn't know anything about it. The theme of the song, irrespective of that, it seemed that the song of the young girl would not come to an end, could have no ending, makes it sound like the song is not designed to ever end, like some definitive song that is a fact of life. The poet just says that he saw the girl busy at her work and also singing even while she was walking, bending over her sickle. Sickle means a special farming tool used to cut the crops. देखिथिव से जो गोटे बेंड हेकी थाए ता देहरे कोन करंती क्रॉप्स काटी थांती. So the poet is saying that the song is designed as if it will never end, as if it will not come to an end. The poet is saying that the song the girl sang is as if designed as something never ending lyrically. That means the song is as the poet compares the song with the sad or sorrowing one, then he thought that maybe this song will never end because the poet saw the girl bending and cutting the crops with her sickle. Okay, so next come to the last stanza. I listened, motionless and still, and as I mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore long after it was heard no more. The poet listened to her song, standing still and motionless. The reaper is unaware of the speaker's presence, or the effect of her song was heard on him. As he mounted up the hill of Scotland, the sweet tune of the song struck to his heart. That means when the writer continues to listen, but the transcendent moment is past. Transcendent means the transaction moment. Look, the writer is climbing up to the hill, and only on that time, mountain means climbing up to the mountain. Only in that time, he comes to listen the song of the reaper who is reaping lonely. So he continues to listen, but the transcendent moment means the time up to a certain distance we can listen to a particular music or particular sound. So as the far as the poet going on, the sound is just reducing or decreasing down. Okay, as he walks away from the field, the song fades from his hearing. दैट मीन्स जितेबले से फिल्ड रु दूरे 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 जाइछंती से सॉन्गटा तांकर हियरिंग माने तांकर ऑडिंग कैपेसिटी बा ऑडिबिलिटी बा ताकु जो सुना जाउथवा कैपेसिटी रु बाहर को जाउची भारी इट यस इट इज प्लेनेटरी मेलोडी इको इज इन हिज हार्ट ए जो मेलोडीटा तांको हार्ट रे इको होची प्रतिध्वनित होची बारंबार 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 बाजी चालीटी and in his imagination. Yes, he is imagining. Only due to that thing he is able to write such things. Okay, but he was also, but the writer or the poet was so impressed that he carried the melody. Who carried? The poet carried the melody of the song with him long after it was ended. Students, look, as the poet is climbing up the hill, he is listening to the sweet music of the girl. But as he continues to walk on and on, he is not able to hear it anymore. तांको अधिक शुणा जाई नथिला काहेकि ना से दूर को चली जाइथिले कहा पाखरु से झियोटीर गीत पाखरु बहुत दूर को चली जाइथिले किंतु से जो मेलोडी से जो साउंडटा से जो एक्सपीरियंसटा से माने एक्सपीरियंस करिथिले सेटा केबे हेले मते तांको हार्ट रु बाहर को जीव नाही दैट इज कंटिन्यूइंग इन हिज हार्ट फॉरएवर फॉरएवर फॉरएवर. The speaker is experiencing a transcendental moment as he is motionless and still. से कौन करथिले ना ऑलरेडी फर्स्ट से कहिसंती डोंट डिस्टर्ब द गर्ल, डोंट डिस्टर्ब द रीपर, जस्ट लेट हर वर्क as she wants. And if she become conscious about your presence, about a person's presence, then she might stop singing. So either you stop or you just silently or gently pass the field. That moves the that means the poet was daydreaming about a particular thing. He seems to looking back on the scene rather than the presenting it as it is unfolds. That means he tried to look behind the scene. He tried to look inside of the reaper. He has re-entered the stream of time by his words in this poem. The daydream is now over and he is moving. Who is moving? The poet is moving. The daydreaming, whatever he dreamed, whatever he thought about the girl, whatever he counted about the girl, or whatever he expressed his feelings about the girl, everything now stopped. Now he is moving forward with his life, mounting the hill and continuing his journey. Okay, this much understood. Okay, students, about the poet I have already told you the poem. Okay, about the poem. Now, in this part, we should know the total entire poem in a short time. So before ending this class, I am going to make a summarization of this poem. The poem The Solitary Reaper whisks us to the beautiful scenic highland of Scotland. The speaker is walking around and sees a Scottish lady tending to her crops, tending, harvesting, or reaping to her crops. She is singing in a field while she walks. It is a kind of a sad song, but it definitely more thrilling than a cuckoo song in the Hebrides and different than anything you might hear from a nightingale. Okay, then the speaker loved the song, but he cannot understand any of it. He wonders if she is singing about old battles and other sad things from forever ago, or if she is singing about something more humble. Either way, he notes that she is singing as if her song will never end. He watched enraptured, not moving at all. Enraptured means captured or still, stand still, not moving at all at the end of the and end and end of the mountain, and he quietly walks away, keeping the woman's music in his heart for a long time after that. It is determined by one main figure, a Highland girl standing alone in a field harvesting the grain. So, this is all about the poem. If you people find anything more difficult, or if you people find anything difficulty understanding a single word or anything, then please follow to the glossary and notes. If still feeling uncomfortable or problematic, then write to me, comment here, or you can ask me your questions in my WhatsApp. Okay. So to subscribe to my channel, just click on the link presented in the below and click the bell icon and subscribe. Thank you.